You're listening to Beyond Wellness Radio, bringing you the cutting edge in health, biohacking, and sports performance. Stay up to date and listen anywhere and anytime on your computer, tablet, or smartphone by subscribing on iTunes. Catch your host, Dr. Justin Marcagiani, as he answers your burning health questions as well as interviews from world-renowned guest experts. For more Beyond Wellness Radio, go to beyondwellnessradio.com.
Hey there, it's Dr. Justin Marcagiani. Welcome to Beyond Wellness Radio. Feel free and head over to beyondwellnessradio.com where you can access our full podcast transcriptions. While you're there, you can also sign up for our thyroid and female hormone video series. This series goes into the root cause of why your hormones are out of balance. While you're there, you can also schedule a functional medicine consult with Dr. Justin, myself, where we'll dig deeper into the root cause of your health challenges. Feel free and think of sharing this podcast with at least one person. This podcast grows by people sharing it. Sharing is caring. If you can think of one person that can benefit from this information, please feel free and share it. If you're enjoying the podcast, make sure you subscribe on iTunes. You can also click below the video or podcast where you'll see the iTunes review button and leave us a review. You can also sign up for the newsletter at beyondwellnessradio.com where you'll get updates before anyone else. Thank you so much and enjoy the show. Hey there, it's Dr. J. Today we have Marna Thall on the podcast. We're really excited to have her on. Her website is thinwithin.com. Nice little poetry there. I like it. Marna, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Justin, for having me. I'm excited to be here with you.
Great. Well, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and what you specialize in and what your passion is really in the health field?
Yeah, so I've been known as the no diet coach for almost 20 years now. I was really, I was 12 years old when my mom was in a car accident and my dad fell from a ladder. My parents owned a flower shop and he fell from a ladder putting away a wedding one night, and it landed both of them in the hospital. And at age 12, I started the year as a thin kid, but by the end of 12, I would put on a lot of weight. Mm-hmm. And in trying to get that weight off, I tried what most people do. It sort of took me 6 years to try to figure out what I was doing. And I tried every diet under the sun that I thought of. And I really just struggled with the willpower to stay on a diet. It really was hard for me to do that because I just have this personality type that if you tell me what to do and how to eat, I'm going to do the exact opposite. Right. And so it wasn't until I was 18, I was in college, and I thought, God, you know what? Here were also these beautiful, thin people around me. And I thought, you know what? If I wanted to get rich, I'd study the wealthy. And here I am struggling with weight. Maybe I'm going to start struggling. I'll start learning from the naturally thin. And being that I was a psychology student, it made a lot of sense for me. I was always very interested in the mindset of people who are successful. So that's what I did. I started studying the thin, and I really understood in learning from the naturally thin that I was an emotional eater and I needed to learn ways to manage that emotional eating. Yeah. And when I did, it helped me lose weight.
Got it. Yeah, it seems like every really good practitioner or healthcare provider, they have some kind of struggle themselves that really got them into this field, got them reaching for answers. And it sounds like this was the path that you watched, which you had to walk, which is now helping so many of your clients. And also you do a lot of summits as well yearly, and you're helping tens of thousands of people yearly with that too. Is that right?
Yeah, it's things, I've been doing it for, like I said, almost 20 years. So yeah, I'm so blessed. I have a great number of people that we get to work with every year. And I have coaches on board now that help and work with me. And it's just we're really blessed to continue to grow and reach more people. But you're right. I had no idea that I was going to be starting and working in the area of weight loss. No clue. But my own personal journey is what has led me here.
That's great. So the average person that reaches out to you online or attends your summits or works with you one-on-one, what are their big three issues that they have, and what are the big couple of things that you're doing with them from a foundational perspective to bring some balance back into their life?
Yeah. So the big three areas, they want to lose weight, but they don't want to diet. They're sick of dieting. They are emotional eaters and they want strategies. And so a big piece of what I do is around rewiring their brain to really think differently about themselves, eat differently, and feel differently about who they are and what they desire. So, I split it up in these three different realms, all really based in my research, looking at how the naturally thin eat, think, and live to stay thin. And so I sort of take that information with a client's information and blend these two worlds together, which creates a really beautiful weight loss when we're getting to the source of what's going on. I mean, I think that that's a big piece for people, is really get to the source of why they're eating. What's really going on? In fact, I had a client who said, you know what, when I was growing up, my dad always said, the one who eats the most gets the most in life. And can you imagine hearing that? So no wonder why she was struggling with the weight, because she would hear all the time, the person who gets the most, eats the most, gets the most in life, So we look at where these things come from and start to give them strategies to help heal that emotional eating piece or overeating piece.
Got it. And how much does blood sugar play into that?
That's really where I would say where you specify and where you're much more specialized in that, and where I'm more on the emotional side. So I don't look so much at blood sugar really at all, because I'm coming from a more psychological standpoint.
Okay. So what are those big psychological changes that you're trying to rewire? So like you mentioned a few, but like if there's one thing right now that someone's coming to see you off of maybe a lot of yo-yo dieting, they're maybe have a history of counting calories, what's that first step they can take to start rewiring their brain?
Yeah. So from a food standpoint, one of the things that they can start doing is to relate to food in a really different way.
Okay.
So instead of the shoulds and have tos, instead of rules, and like I said earlier, rules to me, I'm not great with rules and they make me run the other way. So really starting to have people listen into their bodies.
Yeah.
Listen to hunger, listen to satisfaction, listen to what foods are working and what foods aren't. So in other words, if someone has a cup of coffee and they're tired 5 seconds, an hour later, or their energy's totally drained, to listen to that, because each body is different. And instead of coming from, these are the rules that I have to do, when you start listening to your body and go, hey, you know what, every time I have cheese, I have a headache. I don't feel so hot. Then let's look at different ways you can still have that texture and that taste and that cheese-like sensation without maybe having that cheese. So that I never like people to feel like they have to give up anything, but more how do we make it so that they still get that sensation in a way that works for their bodies. So I'm very much looking at how what's going on in someone's body. And the only way to really do that is to have them and myself get really curious about how foods are impacting them, how their beliefs are impacting them. So that's another area. I look at beliefs. What are their beliefs? What did they grow up hearing? What are they carrying around with them as it relates to food? And is that serving them mentally? So I don't look at just the food mood connection. I'm looking at the mood connection. Like, what are the thoughts that someone's saying to themselves? What are the beliefs they have? And do we need to make some adjustments there?
Yeah. And what do you feel are the major limiting beliefs that most people walk into your clinic with?
There's something wrong with me. I think there's this overarching belief that people are carrying around that there's something wrong with them.
Do you feel like some of that is connected from just what the media puts out there to be a so-called healthy person? You know, someone who's very, very tall, maybe as a female perspective, maybe 5'8", 5'9", maybe a very skinny or wiry, petite bone structure, and then also very light, where maybe the majority, 90+% of the population just don't even have that bone structure and can never look that way. How much is unrealistic expectations playing into this?
I think a lot of it does have to do with what we see from a media standpoint. There's no question. And I think we start carrying these beliefs that, oh, there's something wrong with me. My stomach's too big. My legs are too wide. My life isn't good enough. I'm not good enough.
Right.
And so we start carrying that out, especially as it relates to weight. I see it a lot where people have this, if you struggle with weight for any length of time, what happens is you start saying, I need to lose weight, I need to lose weight, I need to lose weight. And that literally creates neural connections in your brain that give you this sense, there's something wrong with me, I need to lose weight. And I like to look at it, well, what do you get? What do you want to get in your life out of losing weight?
Mm-hmm.
To go even deeper? What will it give you? And then start being that person without having to wait.
Right.
A lot of times we put our lives on hold and then we never get to that point. But if you start being that person, what happens is it shifts who you are from a neurochemistry standpoint, and that creates different actions, and you relate to food in a different way. So if I want to stand up, and everybody can do this with me, like if you even just stand up and arch your back, if you want to stand up, if you think about being thinner, being lighter and leaner and taller and having a better posture, you already start to feel your body lightening up, and that changes then how you're going to go to the fridge. It's going to change how you feel. It's going to change how you relate to food just by the posture and how we start to position our bodies in relationship to eating and to being thin and to being light.
Right. And I think a lot of people too, they kind of have the mindset of food maybe is fuel or a calorie is a calorie. And then that kind of gets people on, well, we're just focused on calories. It's like a car. It just runs on what you stick in it, right? Whether it's unleaded, leaded, diesel, etc. But I think the key focus that I look at with a lot of my patients is that food actually becomes you. It's not like you run on that. All of your cells need the vitamins and nutrients and the building blocks to turn over the tissue in your body. So again, like programming, crap in, crap out, same thing with building your body, bones and neurochemicals and hormones and tissue, healthy food in, healthy food out. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, what I see that is a layering approach. So I think that sometimes, every person who's ever struggled with weight, we've heard, yes, we should be eating whole foods, right? We should be getting really good foods in our bodies. It's not something that we haven't heard before.
Right.
So then I like to go, well, why are then we making the choice to put other foods in? What is that giving people? What, when I have the sweets or when I have the dairy or when I'm, sitting at night and having a bowl of ice cream, what is that giving you? When we can start to look at that, then it makes it easier to start to put in really good food into your body.
Yeah.
By understanding what the actual need is. So I'm taking it more on the emotional side of looking, okay, what's underneath the surface of craving that chocolate or wanting all the sweets? What are you actually really wanting? And it's typically, maybe on the surface level, it's like, well, I'm addicted to sugar. I just want sugar. Yeah. But usually there's something a little bit deeper under the surface, like I need to feel love, or I need more connection, or I'm not feeling really good about myself or how I look, so I need to feel pretty. There's usually things underneath that we can dive in so that it feels inspiring and exciting to eat whole foods and to give our bodies the good, great food that then I would then refer them to you to say, okay, then start talking about food and all of that with you. Yeah. Because I don't really talk about food. I talk about the relationship with food and yourself. So, but of course, whole food is going to make you feel much more alive and beautiful. But a lot of times when we struggle with weight, it's hard to get, if we don't feel like we deserve it, it. And we feel like there's something inherently wrong with us on an emotional level and maybe a physical level. And we've heard a lot of rules about what we should and shouldn't eat. Sometimes it's hard to get that motivation to eat that really good food or that whole food. And we don't, so, all right, just eat the stuff that we like, because that's just is easier, right?
Right. What's the second big belief? You went over the first one there. What's the second one that you see the most?
The second big thing I get a lot is, this is hard. I can't do it. This is hard. Getting thin is hard. Losing weight is hard. And the reality is, it's hard to live in a body and hate it every day, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you could do a little bit of work. It takes a little bit of processing and information and gathering some information. But that's actually the easy part. The harder part is living in a body that you can't stand and not having energy and isolating and feeling deprived and feeling like you're not really being the you that you could be, right? So I think turning that around, instead of it's actually not that hard to lose weight. It takes a little bit of dedication, a little bit of focus, a little bit of asking yourself some questions. And because I come from an emotional eating standpoint, it takes looking at why. So that takes a little time, right? To look at, whoa, I want this food. Why am I wanting it? What do I actually need instead? That takes a minute of your time, right? To kind of look at that versus just going and eating. But by understanding that and seeing patterns and creating a new way to relate to food, it actually gives you time. Because all the time we're spending eating when we should be doing something else and not living, that actually takes time too. So I think it's cognitively shifting the belief that it's hard and I can't do it.
Do you deal with a lot of clients that come to you that may have everyone has a friend or so that can just eat whatever they want and they just stay super lean and have no weight issues? How do you deal with people that have that kind of frustration, they're coming into that kind of frustration?
Well, a lot of, so in my research, I studied two different type of people. I studied the naturally thin who do make thin look and are just naturally thin. And actually, those are a lot of the people that I do study and I do think have a lot of interesting things from a physiology standpoint, but also a psychological standpoint going for them. So there's actually some really great things to learn from our naturally thin friends. It's actually what helped me lose over 40 pounds by actually doing and thinking and acting in the way that they act and do and think around food. So there's, yes, some people, I'm 5'4". I'm never going to be 5'10", right? So there's some things. I have a bigger booty and legs, that's just my shape. That's my shape. There's a certain part of accepting my actual shape. And there's a lot we can learn from the naturally thin, like eating when they're hungry. When I ask them, why do you eat? It's very different if you put an overweight person and a thin person, you get very different answers. You'll get from a naturally thin person, and I've studied, I've asked this question to hundreds of naturally thin people, and they've said, they sometimes look at me cross and go, what? But they'll say, I eat when I'm hungry. What do you mean? They often they're eating because their body inside them, they have a connection to it, and it's telling them, I need fuel. I need food. Where somebody who's struggling with weight, not always, but often will say, well, because it's time, or because I should, or because I'm bored, or they'll give me, 100 other emotional reasons why they may be connecting food to something outside of their body or an emotional reason.
God, is there anything else you learned from the natural thin?
Yeah, tons. So the naturally thin definitely stop eating when their body no longer is hungry. So we'd often hear, when I was struggling with weight, I'd hear people say, oh, I eat until I'm full. Okay. My full as an overweight person was very different than a naturally thin's full. So to make it clear, a naturally thin person stops eating when their hunger goes away, when their hunger is satisfied, when they have a sense of neutrality in their feeling, in their body. Where I would eat until I felt my stomach pop a little bit, till I felt a little, that really heavy fullness inside my body. Very different experience than the naturally thin. They don't want to feel that heaviness. They don't want to feel that bogged down, because that will leave them oftentimes feeling tired and exhausted and uncomfortable, where I found it sort of normal. A naturally thin people are very aware of the impact food is having on their body. So they, like I was saying earlier, they may eat something and go, God, that made me bloated, or feel really uncomfortable, or give me, really distended belly or a headache, where somebody oftentimes, like myself, I wouldn't notice those nuances, or I wouldn't attribute it to necessarily to food, where they're a little bit better at paying attention to the food's impact on their body, both during a meal and after a meal.
Got it.
The naturally thin also are really great in their conversation. No, they don't all think that they're perfect. No, they don't all have wonderful, amazing, perfect lives. Not at all. But there is a sense that they can keep their body thin and lean and light. There's an enjoyment with food. They're actually much slower in eating than the average overweight person. I'm much faster. I've had to train myself to be much slower. They actually it's funny, because you'd say, I've asked overweight people, well, why do you think this is? Why do you think you struggle with weight? And they say, oh, I just love food so much. I've actually found the naturally thin actually are more connected and present to food and eating more than the overweight. So they savor food oftentimes much more. So they're much more connected and enjoy meals. There's no reason to rush through a meal oftentimes. Now, not every naturally thin person is a slower eater. There are many that are fast, and not all are 100% conscious. But as a whole, if we're looking at the median, a big group is they're connected, they're slower, they take their time. That's also why they can feel when something doesn't work inside their body. Something's not working or feeling as good inside their system.
So how does exercise connect in with this? What do the naturally thin do regarding exercise?
Yeah, great question. So I found a huge range. Some are active, really active, like athletes and whatnot, and food then plays a slightly different role for them, because it's then more performance-based for them. So you have some people who are active, really active and athletic, and you have people who are also not. Some naturally thin people don't exercise any more or any less than an overweight person. So there's a big range. I interviewed people who said, oh yeah, I move every day. Absolutely. It's a requirement for me. And then I've interviewed other people who say, sometimes I walk and I play with my kids. I would say on average, there's more activity in the way of not necessarily like laying on the couch and living life from sort of the couch. There's more activity in the way of going to play with kids, or going to the park, or going and doing little things here and there. But not all naturally thin people are, hitting the gym all the time, or are these great athletes. So I thought they would be. So that's where I was coming from, the vantage point of, oh my gosh, I'm going to interview these naturally thin people and go, oh my, what are they doing physically that I'm not doing?
And what percent of that's just genetic? Like if the other person did the exact same things, how much of that would be the genetics, and how much of that would be the mindset or the actual exercise or food part?
I would say that there's probably a genetic component, but many of the behaviors of the naturally thin are, it's hard to know, right? They've been doing it since they were born.
Got it.
So I wasn't interviewing people who had gained weight and then lost weight, So it's a different group. It's a group of people who have always been naturally thin from the time they were little until they were, I've interviewed some of the people who are 70, 80 years old. And so is there a genetic component? Sure. But I also see in my practice that there's a huge component of there's many people that when they take on these similar behaviors, they will absolutely lose weight. If they don't, then we look at things like you're so brilliant at, like thyroid or inflammation, or how food, maybe a sensitivity, or some of these other things that are going on.
Got it. Well, you described a lot how your mindset shifted, and you mentioned on your site you went from a size 16 to a size 6. That's quite a big jump. You must be super proud of yourself for that. So I'll give you a pat on the back. But what were the big food shifts? We know you made a lot of mindset shifts. What were the big food shifts, just so people can kind of wrap their head around where you were before from a food perspective to where you were at a size 6, 10 sizes later?
Awesome. That's such a great question. Nobody's ever asked that. Okay, so the food shift. The big thing for me food-wise is before, when I was struggling with weight, I never tuned into hunger. I never knew when to eat. I just ate. If somebody was going out to eat, I was totally, I wouldn't say that I was a sure thing. I was just a sure thing. I loved, socializing and eating, and I still do. But I didn't realize that I really had no idea from that time that I was 12 when my parents had the accident. I started to turn to food in a way to relate to my pains, my frustrations, my anger of being a 12-year-old with parents that weren't the way I wanted them to be, right?
Got it.
So that was a big shift. When I started to tune into my body and feel hunger for the first time, I was in college, and I remember I spent a lot of time actually by myself trying to figure it out and to figure out what my body was doing. So the big thing I shifted is now, if I'm going to a dinner, let's say we have an event tonight, which we actually do. We're going to go over to a friend's house, and if I'm hungry, great, I will eat. But if I'm not hungry, I'm happy to have a glass of wine and then some water and a glass of wine, maybe have a couple bites. It's really shifted my quantity, which then obviously shifted my body. There have been times I've been, so there's the front end of a meal for me. I now listen to when to eat now from a different standpoint.
Is there a time-wise you find that you go between meals, 5 hours, 6 hours? Is it just on average, is there a time?
So typically I'm hungry when I wake up. So I'm hungry, so I get up and I go eat. And typically that looks like potential, sometimes it's a couple eggs, sometimes it's going to be steel cut oats, and I throw in some protein powder. It could vary. I notice from listening to my body, it does not do well with things like bagels. So I don't eat bagels very often, even though my head loves them, but my body doesn't. And I've learned from the Naturally Thin that a meal should have two components: psychological and physiological satisfaction, especially for someone who struggles with weight. I need to feel in my head that I need for it to light up something in my brain. So I still want to like it. I just don't, but I want my body to like it too. And then, I'm probably not, I may be hungry or it just depends. Sometimes I'm hungry at 10 o'clock and my lunch looks at like 10:30, I'm having lunch, where at 7:30 I was having breakfast. And then I may have something at 3:30 and then another meal. Again, there are other times, there's certain foods that just take longer to work in my body. And like I had something earlier and it's been, let's see, it's been 5 hours. So it typically varies, but I would say most days I'm eating 3 to 4 meals a day, and they're smaller than what they were before.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a really good natural inclination to stabilize your blood sugar, which is great. Did you notice any food allergens that you pulled out of your diet? I mean, you mentioned the bagel, so you're kind of alluding to some gluten there. Was there anything else that you just found that you pulled out because you were reacting to it in some way?
Yeah, so I also am aware I don't totally cut out dairy. I've substituted like regular milk, let's say, for almond milk. I don't know. I definitely do a lot of almond milk.
Yeah.
Um, I love cheese. And so, but I have to watch how much I have in it because it'll make me gassy, bloated, uncomfortable, I feel heavy. So I watch my dairy, and those were the main ones. I do watch my coffee intake because I will find sometimes that I love it and I'll like crave it like crazy. And I know that it's just like not a natural craving. It's sort of like a addiction. So then I'll do things like I still want that coffee taste. And so I'll do like 100% chicory.
Oh, okay.
And
Interesting.
I'll steam some some almond milk, put a little maybe stevia or something, and that's how I'll shift that up. So sometimes I'm drinking coffee, sometimes I'm totally off or doing tea and just 100% chicory just because it's good for you too.
That's
And
great.
it gives me a little bit of that taste. So I will substitute. I never want to say no to myself. So I always am finding ways to say yes in a way that works for my body.
Nice. Now, I find a lot of my patients that have come from eating issues in the past, I mean, we're so ingrained in our culture that fat's bad, right? Or at least in the 70s and 80s, even the 90s, we were just, that was just like literally just jammed in our ear. And I can just hear, the fat you eat's the fat you wear. But we know fat is so important for our hormones, and every single cell in our body has this little lipid bilayer. It's important for hydration and our skin and nails. How do you adjust a lot of the people you're seeing? How do you adjust their relationship with fats, that they're maybe not a bad thing? Maybe they're actually essential and really important for our health.
So I'm always coming from, how does it make you feel? Like, okay, because people who are coming to me have tons of rules, right? They know a whole lot more about things than I do, typically around food rules and what you should and shouldn't do.
Yeah.
So they're coming to me. So I like to come from it. Well, how do you feel?
Yeah.
Because if you're feeling good, if you're having fats, if you're having avocados, they're like, oh my God, I'm worried about having avocados, or I'm worrying about, too much oil in my, we'll say, you know what, let's try it and see how you feel and how you look and how's your hair.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Then it's empowering and inspiring when it's not coming from what I should do, what Marna says I should do, but more, how is this helping me? How do I feel? Do I look good? I eat a ton of salmon. I love it. I love what it does for my skin. I love what it does for my hair. But if I was eating it and I was going, God, I feel awful, I don't like it, then I would know that that's not the right item for me in my body. I may look at other ways to get fats or get proteins or get whatever it is, I think people do come to me a lot from different diets where they've had to count calories or where they've really established this good food, bad food mentality. And some of that creates binges. And so I'm always very careful about being aware of that. And I find that the strategy I use of like, well, let's see how it works for you. Let's see how it works for your body. What that does is it avoids a lot of the binges because it's empowering clients to feel, to take ownership of their health and their body.
I think of that old expression too. I think it goes, nothing tastes as good as thin feels. So you get a lot of people that they're gauging their motivation on how they're doing on a number on a scale versus how that food's actually making them feel. So how do you recalibrate them to not feeling good about the actual result of them feeling thin, but actually doing the right thing with their relationship with food and then combining that with, losing weight and feeling better that way too?
Well, I think it's very holistic. I mean, it's a big holistic piece. It's interesting that saying, when you said it, I was thinking, a lot of clients that come to me don't know how thin feels. So it's this abstract idea of what they think it's going to be.
Yeah.
So in the moment, chocolate is very exciting, or whatever their trigger, whatever
Yeah.
everybody's trigger food is better than this sort of idea of what thin is, right? If
Yeah.
you've never experienced it, or if it's been many, many years, then the instant gratification is quite different. So I say the way I balance it and look at all of it is one, knowing the person, really getting a sense of who this person is, that I'm not just putting them through a system without knowing who they are. And then looking at these different components and trying to balance them on and calibrate them. Because most people, there's usually just a few tweaks. Don't you find this? There's usually just a few tweaks that we can make to really make a huge dent in how they look, how they feel, how they relate to food, and how they lose weight.
So true. Absolutely.
You know,
Well, you really gave us a lot of good information here. That's awesome. Is there anything else that you want to share with the listeners that's powerful that maybe you haven't touched upon yet?
I would say just, get support. One of the things that I didn't know was available to me at that time. I mean, this was a long time ago, but when I was trying to lose weight, is I didn't know that there were people, I didn't reach out in the way that I should have to really get the support, whether it's Dr. J or myself, get support with people who really get to know you and understand you and are asking you some questions that go underneath the surface. That will help you know that they're really caring versus just like you checking off the list and a quick diagnosis and whatnot. I would also say there's nothing wrong with you. There are some small tweaks that you can make to make your life, your health, your, in my area, your emotional eating or how you relate to food much better and much more joyous for your life, but you're not broken. There's just a few things you need to do or can try to do that will be life-changing for your weight and your body.
Got it. That's great. So if anyone's listening to this show and maybe they're feeling a little overwhelmed, a lot of stuff was thrown at them, can you just kind of give me the big top 3 things that someone listening to this show right now could do to just kick more butt and just feel better regarding their weight or relationship with food? What are those big 3, just kind of one sentence answers for each?
Understand why you want to lose weight. Get clear of that. 2, start listening to your body. Eat when you're hungry, stop when you're satisfied, and know why you're eating and start ticking down those reasons of why you're eating to get just to hunger.
That's great. And you also mentioned one more thing. I got to ask you. You said, I think you gave the analogy about cheese. Then you said, well, what's that mouth feel? What's that feel that I'm looking for? So if people are craving something that, you may consider not to be that healthy, do you find alternatives that will give them that same kind of sensation and feel that maybe have less sugar or less of a bad food in it, bad, like gluten or something like that, that's maybe healthier, but gives them that same feel and sensation?
Only through exploring. So I don't have the answers for that. We may, let's say, so if someone's saying cheese, I know for me what would be an alternative, like I like goat cheese and I can go with that kind of, and that works a little bit better in my system. Or I can find a vegan option that could work really well in my system, but it's different. Somebody else may go, that is disgusting. It tastes nasty.
Yeah.
So I can't give you yes, this is the thing, but I will say that when instead of saying no to yourself, if you can say, yes, I will find what does work and what will work. And I will, if you have to try 15 different types of cheeses that work well for your body, it's worth it. Cause then you'll go, oh, I can have cheese and this is how it tastes. And this is what works. And it feels good. And it makes me look amazing too.
Very cool. And last question for you. If you were stuck on a desert island, what supplement or herb would you bring with you? If you only could choose one.
Great question. I'd bring D.
Vitamin D.
Yep. I'd bring D. Me personally, I need more vitamin D. I don't have a thyroid and sometimes my D is low. So I would say vitamin D for me for sure gives me the energy and the vitality that just really just works great for me.
That's great. And you have your site over at thinwithin.com. If someone's listening to this and wants to work with you, how do they get a hold of you? Just email you or?
Yeah, you can always email me at marna@thinwithin.com. I say the best thing to do is we have an assessment there where you start to look at why do you eat? It's called Why Do You Eat? It's an assessment, and that will give you some answers. What happens when you fill that out? I get your answers too, and then we can go from there to start looking at why you eat and start to create a plan to help start to diminish some of those reasons, lessen those reasons, so you really start to get to the real, so you're dealing with your emotions in an emotional way and your physicality in a physical way, and we'll start separating food from mood, food from emotions.
And it seems like you also have a coaching program there for practitioners too.
I do. So I was doing this work, and I don't know, maybe 8-10 years ago, someone said, Marna, I really want to know how I want to do the same work you do. I love what you do. I want to do it. And so out of that, I created a practitioner program because the demand was there. And so I don't do it for tons of people every year, but once a year I offer it up, and it's a pretty cool program.
Very cool. And you also have your summit too that I had the awesome opportunity to take part of. Do you want to mention your summit too?
Oh, well, once a year. Well, you are fantastic. You're one of my favorite guests.
Thanks.
Once a year, I do what's called Rewire Your Brain to Think Thin training series, where I gather together people in the area of different areas that personally I'm interested and I know my clients are interested in, and we do training sessions for 2 weeks, and it's so cool because we focus on these different areas. Tapping, we do EFT,
great.
NLP. You talked about the thyroid, which is so super cool. We talk about these different areas to help people rewire their brain to think, eat, and live differently, and it just continues to grow. It's such a big success.
Can people sign up to get access to the summit for this year, or is it too late?
It's over this year, but next year, if you're on my list, if you go to thinwithin.com, you'll hear about when next year's is, and you'll get access for free.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Marna. You were an awesome guest.
Oh, good. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Got a question for Dr. J? Go to beyondwellnessradio.com and click the questions button. Then tune in to hear the answer. Also, if you like the show, click below to review us on iTunes. For more Beyond Wellness Radio, go to beyondwellnessradio.com.